another disqualifying thing, to run for president should be the fact that this motherfucker voted for the Iraq War. An illegal war. Illegal. And Joe Biden was screaming for it at the top of his fucking lungs, along with with most Republicans and most people in general at the time. There were very few voices against the Iraq war, very few during the time. And I was too young to, I was like 10, not even, actually, no, I was like 8, 7, like that. But, reading the archives and everything and hearing people, just hearing people that were older than me talk about it, like everybody was for that shit, because it was a thing out there that if you were against it, then you're somehow against America and against the troops. That was the propaganda Cheney and Bush and all them were shoveling out there. But Joe Biden voted for the Iraq war. Now, no, Joe Biden definitely get the smoke for it, but who else voted for the Iraq war? Hillary fucking Clinton. So we're rewarding people like voting for the Iraq war at this point in in American history, with all the information we know about the Iraq war and how they lied us into the war. It should literally be a political disqualifier for voting for the Iraq war at this point. At this point, we already rewarded Joe Biden with the vice presidency, but now we just rewarded him with the presidency, somebody who voted for the Iraq war. And according to the Geneva Conventions, both Bush and Blair and Cheney will most likely be convicted for war crimes, for their responsibility in the war, for fucking war crimes. George Bush is a war criminal. Dick Cheney is a war criminal. And anybody in my mind and in most Americans' minds, anybody who voted for that war is a fucking war criminal. And that's what Joe Biden is. Joe Biden is partly responsible for the genocide in Yemen right now. Joe Biden is a warmongering, war criminal piece of shit. Like he's never seen a war he hasn't liked. But he likes the, and he likes the people that give us their fucking natural resources, no matter whether they're fucking brutal dictators or theocratic brutal rulers like the Saudi Arabian government. Now, no, Donald Trump likes them too because they give him money. But it's like with Biden, though, this is the guy that's going to usher in a new age. Somebody who's going to be hawkish on North Korea when Donald Trump was just negotiating with the little short fucker. Little Rocket Man, he went from calling this man Little Rocket Man to being at the crib chilling with Bull, if you feel me. But nah, on some real shit. But Joe Biden is a war criminal, and here's a video I put together to show you.
The war in Iraq, which officially lasted from 2003 to 2011, led to the death of over 4,000 American service members. The vote Sanders is talking about took place 18 years ago during the 107th Congress. The bill that started the Iraq War prompted contentious debate, but passed with bipartisan support despite opposition from now House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and then Representative Bernie Sanders.
The United States could set a precedent of a unilateral invasion of a country which could trigger disastrous results.
On the Senate side, the bill also received bipartisan support, with 29 Democrats voting to send it to the president's desk. Among them, Hillary Clinton, Chuck Schumer, and yes, Joe Biden.
Yesterday in Iraq, you say that your vote on the Iraq war was based on the President Bush's representations that this wasn't about going to war. It was about presenting a clear, at least, threat to Saddam Hussein. Bernie Sanders says, I saw right through that. I was right. I knew what George Bush was up to. When we look back on it, can we say that Senator Sanders' judgment about that was better than yours?
Look, the reason I voted the way I did was to try to prevent a war from happening because, remember, the threat was to go to war. The argument was because Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. So he said that I need to be able to get the Security Council to agree to send in inspectors to put pressure on Saddam to find out whether or not he's producing nuclear weapons. And at the time, I said, that's your reason. All right, I get it. That was the rationale was that's the way to not go to war because I didn't believe he had those nuclear weapons. I didn't believe he had those weapons of mass destruction. And you may remember the debates we had after that period about when Colin said, anyway. So that was the rationale. What happened was we went in, determined that they hyped what in fact was occurring. They didn't, there was no concrete proof of what he was doing, and they still went to war. And the irony of all ironies is the first thing that Barack Obama did when we got elected president and vice president was turn to me and say, end the war, not a joke. You run the deal to bring out 150,000+ combat troops from Iraq. And I did. So, you know, the idea that I took the word of a president saying that he wasn't going to go to war and this was the way to avoid going to war.
9 months ago, I voted with my colleagues to give the President of the United States of America the authority to use force. And I would vote that way again today. It was a right vote then, and to be a correct vote today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me begin by saying I think, Major, you have provided, and are providing a very, very, very valuable service to your country by coming forward as you have. Because quite frankly, I think what you've done is you've forced us to come to our milk here, all of us in the United States Congress. I think you and I believe, and many of us believe here, as long as Saddam's at the helm, there is no reasonable prospect you or any other inspector is ever going to be able to guarantee that we have rooted out, root and branch, the entirety of Saddam's program relative to weapons of mass destruction. And you and I both know, and all of us here really know, and it's the thing we have to face, that the only way we're going to get rid of Saddam Hussein is we're going to end up having to start it alone, and it's going to require guys like you in uniform to be back on foot in the desert taking taking Saddam down. You know it, and I know it. So I think we should not kid ourselves here. There's stark choices.
If you would have done this interview with me a year after we were done, you would have got the angry, resentful, or just, I would have been a less pleasant guy to be around at that point. And, you know, I've had all this time to not really reflect, but to kind of grow into my situation, I guess.
On August 3rd, 2005, Marine Lance Corporal Travis Williams lost his entire squad. 11 friends dead in an instant of flames and smoke on a road in Iraq. Williams was ordered to change vehicles just before that day's patrol.
So we get in the vehicles, we're loaded up. The other guy that I was really close with, Bernholtz, is right across the way. And I just remember getting tapped, you know, from above, from the troop hatch where Major Toland was sitting, said, "Hey, we're in the next vehicle, we're not in this track." I remember getting up, walking off the end of the ramp and looking back at those guys and being like, "Hey, I'll catch you on the flip side."
Shortly afterwards, the original vehicle drove over an enormous buried bomb. 7 years later, Williams is still trying to come to terms with what happened that day and how to move on with his life.
I feel like of all the people that were killed in that explosion, I shouldn't have been the guy that was pulled out in the morning. And I feel guilty that I'm back here, I'm alive.
Air Force veteran, here with Army veteran. Just wondering why we should focus on voted for a war and killed thousands of our brothers and sisters. Countless Iraqis. You enabled that war. You also gave a medal to a man who enabled that war and caused that war. Your blood is on your hands. And you're disqualified. You're disqualified. My friends are dead. Because of your fault.
So is my son, which is Iraq. For years. That doesn't matter, right? I don't think it matters to me. It matters a lot to me.
I'm sure it does. And I'm not going after your son.
You better know.
I'm not. No, I'm not going after your son. You were disqualified, sir. Disqualified. The blood is on your hands. Blood is on your hands. No. My brothers and sisters died in Iraq and Afghanistan. And he enabled that to happen. He enabled that to happen. He is disqualified. He is disqualified. No way he can be president. They are dead. Millions are dead in Iraq. justice, he will not be allowed to be president. Disqualified. Trump is more anti-war than you.
Fucking bullshit. Fucking imperialist. We actually fought in your damn wars. We fought in your wars. You sent us to hurt civilians. We hurt civilians. You pushed us out to do it.
So yeah, like that, like the fact that we're not at the point in America where, you know, voting for the Iraq war is not a disqualifier and it actually like you can become president even after voting for the Iraq war is fucking ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. It's sickening. Like this is one of the reasons why John Kerry lost in 2004 was because he wasn't against the Iraq war, which, you know, people at that point during that election were. And Joe Biden won because Trump bad. So again, this is why I'm going through this. Joe Biden is the greater fucking evil because people just lose all common sense with Donald Trump in office. And even right now, as we speak, you know, I'm not going to talk on it too much, but because I'm about to make a video about it, but like they're losing their minds because he's going to do like a last ditch effort and pull troops out of Iraq and Afghanistan, like for good, thus ending those wars. And people are losing their fucking shit. Like you're seeing the war hawks on CNN, you know, getting mad about, oh, he's leaving a problem for Joe Biden. Pulling troops out of Iraq and ending a war is a problem now. So that should let you know where our government is. So I'm going to end this video here. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Emphasis on the comments. I want to hear what you guys think. And thanks for tuning in. Peace. Be easy.